Oh, it's so wonderful to see you again. Come in and unwind. Welcome back to the Celestial Cafe, a podcast for the magical mind.
So come, take a seat. Would you like something sweet? A star drop potion for the soul? Maybe an enchanted eclair as a treat?
I just baked a batch of warm cookies with a dash of moonlight. I wonder what will happen if you take a little bite.
Here's your bewitching beverage. Let each sip melt your worries away. It's time to open your mind. I wonder what magic awaits us today.
Okay, and hello. Welcome back to the Celestial Cafe, everybody. I hope you've had a wonderful end of January and start to February. Happy Groundhog's Day. I believe we're recording this. Is today officially Groundhog's Day? Is that today?
Yes. Which means yesterday I forgot to wish my brother a happy birthday.
That's how I felt on Christmas Day. I was like, my brother's New Year or Christmas Eve.
I thought of it. I just didn't do it.
Well, welcome in, everyone. Welcome to the Celestial Cafe. Today is a full moon episode. We're going to be chatting about the full moon in Leo, Imbolc, and the cold moon. So all four of us are here. I hope y'all been liking our little mini episodes. We have a schedule. Do we want to talk about the schedule for this month with everybody?
Yeah, sure.
Do we have access to that quickly? Anybody else besides me?
Yes, I do.
So
but I can get it.
we're trying to get ourselves scheduled so that we have episodes ready to go, planned a month in advance. So we're doing weekly episodes now, with 2 mini-sodes and 2 four people episodes. So we got some exciting things to share with y'all. But before we get into that, we want to thank everyone for supporting us on the Patreon and let you know that if you would like to support the podcast, you can subscribe on our Patreon. The link is on our website at celestialcafe.org. It helps us a ton. And that's really all there is to say about that. I think y'all understand why it helps, you know?
Yeah. It is actively being utilized to make this podcast better for everyone involved.
And it's letting us take the social media a little more seriously. We're going to start trying to roll out some short form videos, reels and clips and stuff here over the next month or two while we work on that, or while we try to get that up to speed, I guess you could say. And we're going to try to plan another movie night here for y'all. I really want to watch The Waking Life again. So I
would love to see that. I still haven't seen that.
Maybe in February, we'll get probably like around a little after Valentine's Day, maybe around the 20th of February, that week or so, we'll shoot to have a Waking Life, a Walking Dead, a Waking Life watch through or movie night together. One of my all-time favorite movies, and I haven't seen it in years, so I'm due for a new watch through. So what is our schedule looking like for this month?
So today is the full moon in Leo. And by the way, this is going to be an interesting episode because we're actually going to be publishing it tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh yeah.
Shady forgot that she's gonna have to edit today.
because so we're recording on Thursday. This is going to be going up on Friday rather than Monday, and the reason for that is because the full moon is on Sunday.
Yes.
And thankfully, this is the only time this year that we're going to have to switch the schedule around. I looked ahead at all the next full moons, and this is the only one that kind of cuts it really close. So we're doing something a little different. So you're going to be receiving this episode a little bit earlier than expected. So congratulations to all podcast listeners rather than watchers live.
You get it 3 days early. Or earlier than normal. So that means it might be a little bit of a wait for the next. You have to wait 3 extra days for the next episode after that. But
it's going to be 10 days till the next episode after the one that's released tomorrow. So I hope you all can sit around and wait a little bit longer for the next episode, which will be an episode on candle magic featuring Fuchsia and Panthera. That's going to be awesome. They both utilize candle magic a whole lot more than Ty and I do. So I feel like they're going to have a lot of lovely discussion on that, a lot of magic to behold. The following episode will be another 4-person episode, and this is one that's been requested quite a bit and one that we've wanted to expand upon. Since we talk about the full moon so often, we want to talk about moon magic, in particular lunar magic, and what it means to work with the moon. We all 4 of us work with the moon semi-regularly or are familiar with her workings. So that's going to be really fun. We're going to be talking about like all different types of lunations and what to do during every phase of the moon and anything else that fits. And our other mini episode with me and Ty, or me and Shady, will be meditation with a specific focus on a quote that we had in a previous podcast, which is meditation is preparation for death.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a pretty interesting episode.
I think so
one
too.
That, and so rather than, because we want to do a 4-person meditation episode as well, but this one's going to be a little bit more on the focus on how meditation kind of allows us to be okay with loss and gain and sort of neutralize those feelings that occur.
And meditation is such a grand topic that I think that an hour-long mini episode isn't really enough space to go into it. So if we come into it with the focus on that quote that we had from last week's episode, where we just kind of like mentioned it briefly and then just breezed right past it, but y'all expressed some interest in the Discord about the episode. So originally me and Dukes were going to be covering lucid dreaming this month, but we figured we would focus where there's active interest. So we will be circling back to lucid dreaming because I greatly want to discuss. I love talking about dreams. Catch me talking about dreams 24/7. So
we will be having a dream episode, of course. That's
a hint to everyone. If there is a topic you really want us to discuss, you should bring it up in Discord and join our Discord and let us know, because we obviously do take those into consideration. We want to know what you want to know.
Yeah.
And that's our upcoming schedule for the month of February. So I hope you all can look forward to that. It's going to be fun. That'll be good, as always.
We normally start these full moon episodes with like an intuitive vibe check. I'm battling through a migraine today. I woke up with my little squiggly line in my vision that says I'm going to have a big migraine. I've already taken 2 aspirin and it is a doozy. So I'm not my full self, and I'm all I can see right now. I have no collective insight. I am fully just wallowing in my own personal misery. So I think that my intuitive vibe check would just be like, everything's abysmal and we should all just die.
I feel like we can kind of maybe play off of Dukesley's like astrology deep dive, and it will come more naturally maybe there.
I feel like if anything I want to say right now is I'm kind of picking up a vibe of like people introverting more than they normally would, and needing to shell up a little bit more than they normally do, and I think this is going to come up in what we're talking about, the way that we titled this episode, but and we talked about this last week too, but in order to push through like a funk that's going on right now, and it's like withdrawing your extra tendrils, it's pulling the focus back to yourself is what it feels like.
I actually really associate with that, and actually like physically too, because my computer's dying. So I'm like forced to like actually reel in, like, whereas normally I spend all day like at the computer looking at Discord, looking at Twitter, playing online games with lots of strangers and so on. I'm being forced to not do that. And I've spent so much time, like, I folded so much laundry today, guys. I've done like 12 loads of laundry today. It's actually nuts. Like,
see, that's I feel like since last week's episode, I honestly feel like I finished pushing through and I got through that funk. And this past week has just been like, not to say it's been amazing, because my school funds for the semester get delayed and I'm not getting them until tomorrow, and I had planned for them on Tuesday, so rent is fucked up and stuff. So I've been stressed out about that, but overall, like, I have gotten my shit together. Like, I mopped all the floors. Like, it took me 2 nights because like it's just exhausting. Like I did like the kitchen and bathroom one night, and the living room and my bedroom the other night. Like, but I mopped the floors. I cannot tell you last time we actually like mopped the floors, not just let the Roomba run and then sometimes Swiffer. Sorry, Splatoon. But like I actually like pulled out the mop and bucket and I did like I did a little spell for like peace and harmony in the household, and so I washed that all, and I have been cooking mostly out of necessity because I have a bunch of HelloFresh meals in my fridge and nothing else, and I can't afford to go shopping. So mostly out of necessity, but I've been cooking and I've been like being a little creative with those, and it's been fun. And I don't like cooking, so like and I've actually been keeping up with the dishes when I do cook, which is the other reason I don't like to cook. Like, right? And it's just like,
y'all, I cleaned the inside of my Roomba today. like the inside. I know.
Which actually ties into Imbolc energy, which I'll get into. But like, it hit me out of nowhere after like feeling like I was just being a sloth the last few weeks, and I was just like, wow, I guess things have changed. Okay, let's go. So I recorded 2 videos. I haven't edited them. They're not up, but I recorded 2 videos, which is 2 more than I have recorded in the last 5 months. So
I need an ounce of that energy. I've been playing Final Fantasy 11. Well, I've been streaming, and here I am migrained out and pushing through regardless and sticking with. It helps that it was Celestial Cafe today, but I think I still would have done it regardless, even if it wasn't Celestial Cafe. Like I'm really trying to stick to my 5 days a week that I set myself, and now I'm starting to get to where it's like, I have to start adding fitness into this, like however it's going to work out. So
yeah, you've anchored this first habit, and now it's time to add
unfortunately, this has to be the priority habit because food needs to be put on my table. You know what I mean? And everything has to focus around that. So now it's back to focusing on the body and hoping that I can get the 2 to level out together, which is I either am fucking thriving with stream and career, or I'm thriving with taking care of my body, but I've never had both of these happen at the same time.
And that's a common content creator problem.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's straight up not having a good time, but I'm doing my best. And I think this migraine, and I've been saying for a couple of days, I've had an ongoing headache for about 2 weeks now, and now it's like burst into a migraine, and it could have been worse, but it's definitely like the nausea one today. It's not the worst. Anyway, nobody cares. Just Gemini rambling things, but it's been a push through the slog kind of feeling, and get one thing lined up, so now you got to try to line the other thing up. Very much like 2 of Pentacles kind of energy, trying to juggle as much as I can. And it's not too much, but juggle the things that I need to in order to. So just got to push through it. You know, you don't want to do something, but you got to do it. You got to do it. It's like putting on my big kid pants, like being an adult, like suck it up, It's a suck it up thing. And like when I was talking on the podcast last week, and I was like, how many excuses do you have? Like, you got to just, if you say you're going to do it, you got to do it. Like stick with it. And then
be impeccable with your word. Yes.
So it's been a lot of me just trying to stay focused and commit and follow through and things like that. And I feel like overall, like compared to who I was like 10 years ago, I'm a totally different person. And now it's just a matter of like every now and again, those bad habits are like rearing their head, and like it's so easy to fall back into them because they're like the old way of existing. And it's like constantly having to, I don't know, it's like a snake that shed its skin, but that skin keeps trying to reattach itself to the snake and push it back into a smaller version of itself, and the snake has to keep like detaching it over and over and over again until finally it's just shred forever. But
I feel like bad habits are something you will have to work against. Once you've established bad habits, they are something you have to work against for the rest of your life. Like I know personally, like I can work on not doing a bad habit, and I can not do that for like 10 years, but then one slip up and it's like, oh, okay, we're back at 0.
Exactly what just happened with my sleep schedule.
Really,
so easy to fall back into old patterns.
Yeah.
Like,
so easy. Yeah.
But the more you do it, the easier it is to get out of them. But it's
you have to form a new.
If only we didn't form these bad habits in the first place.
Basically.
Yeah, that's the struggle. Yeah. And it is like a lot of reparenting and stuff too, which we've talked about a bit when we do inner child like discussions. So my vibe check is, I told y'all it wasn't it's gonna be a little bit of wallowing energy because I'm a little wallowing right now, and it's all I can see. I can't see through my own misery to see the bigger picture right now.
Well, there's definitely a bitch. True. There's definitely a bit of tension in the stars right now for us to sort of
let's
sort
go ahead
through.
and jump over to that.
Well, before we do,
okay.
I would like to talk about our drinks. This is the cafe.
Oh, I forget. I keep forgetting to do this at the start of the episodes. Yeah.
We live here at the cafe. We can't leave. We legally can't. So all we could do here is drink beautiful drinks and eat delicious little snacks. And today, my delicious little drink is chocolate milk. Let's
Yummy.
fucking go.
What kind of milk?
Oat
milk.
Delicious
Let's
oat.
go.
Chocolate milk is actually like super on point for Imbolc.
Ooh,
Ooh.
hello there. I'm in tune.
Is Dr. Pepper on point for Imbolc?
No, it is not.
I mean, you could kind of maybe make a case for
Really?
it.
Dr. Pepper's cherry, right?
No,
It's
well,
I don't
mostly
think cherries are even season.
no, it's just,
So you
it's
can't
just
even
that,
make it work
no,
that way.
it's just that Imbolc is a very self-care centered holiday. So
Mm.
if that's your
Spoilers.
self-care, then
Ugh. I feel that.
Maybe. I
But
don't
all I
know.
got is chalky milk and water, which actually sounds really gross together now that I say that out loud. But it's delicious, I promise.
Well, our
so
water filter's being replaced on the fridge, so I'm drinking tap water, and it's not yummy.
Oh, that's so hard to go back to,
I
like
know,
after
it
having
really
like nice
is.
filtered
Well,
water.
I have well water, so it's a little-
well water is the best. I had
I
real
love
water
it.
growing up and it's amazing, and now I have icky Chicago water and it's gross.
ooh, city water.
Like
That
I
sounds good.
can't stand the smell of it. I double filter any water. Like we have a filter on our sink, and then I have a Brita pitcher. Any water that I have to drink, like I have to double filter it because I cannot
I don't
stand
blame
the
you.
smell of
That's like
it.
New Jersey water. New Jersey water is the same way. It's so
Yeah.
vile.
My snacky that I brought with me with my little Dr. Pepper is spicy popcorn chicken.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds so good
It's
right
pretty
now.
good.
What?
It's
I
pretty
have
yummy.
2 Taco Bell tacos waiting for me.
Oh, yummy.
Oh, and my boyfriend went to a Mexican bakery and got like a bunch of like churros and like
Yum.
donuts, like special
No, that sounds so
pastries and
good.
stuff. I don't know. So
Okay,
they're over there too. So I'm like,
Panthera, I say this in complete sincerity. Can I have your boyfriend?
Like, what? I was like,
He brings you Mountain Dew.
it's the best. But yesterday when we went to Micro Center and I got my PC parts, there was a Krispy Kreme right across the highway from it. So I was like, we were talking about what food to get on the way home, and I was like, there's like a Penn Station subs, and then there's like a Krispy Kreme right across the street. And I was like, I have not, when I used to live in Fredericksburg, back in Virginia before I moved up to Ohio, there was a Krispy Kreme and a Cadobo right next to each other, and I would go there like multiple times a week, and like I can't resist. I would get my nice burrito, and then I would get in the drive-thru for Krispy Kreme and get like a nice warm fresh donut. Oh my gosh, I love like glazed donuts, and nobody else does glazed donuts. But so anyways, we go to the Krispy Kreme and they're not open yet. Like Google lied to me. They were like in the process of getting built. So I was really depressed after that.
they
So
weren't
today
even-
he was like making up
they
for
weren't
it. And got me the
Not open for the day. They just weren't open.
I don't like glazed
I had
donuts.
just
It
Googled food
existed.
near me,
Either.
and I was, I don't like cake donuts.
No, I don't like cake donuts, but Dunkin' Donuts does like a donut without the glaze on it. So it's like still the soft donut. Well, I don't know. I don't need all that sugar, I guess. Like I really just like soft bread.
So I'd rather just have like a Hawaiian roll, like a
No,
little
because
heated
that's
up
still
with
too
butter on
sweet.
it or
I like
something.
the flavor of donut bread. Like it's that like I like the flavor of it, but I don't want the sugar on the outside because I just want the bread.
I just want the glaze, honestly.
donuts.
I guess if you put the glaze on anything, I'll be happy.
I'm
Doesn't
gonna
have to be
slide
just
right
like
past the joke that I want to say right now.
Yeah.
Fuchsia, what did you bring with you?
Well, I have my lovely Chicago double filtered water.
Oh,
That's
Hog.
it.
poggers.
I literally scraping the barrel until I get my semester funds tomorrow. And then I'm gonna have a fucking party and buy a brand new PC and all this fun stuff. But for right now, I cannot afford anything. Although I guess I could have made like one of the 7,000 teas I have in my cupboard.
Well, my Dr. Pepper is
Didn't
only
think of it,
due
but
to
water.
the bank of my brother. So thanks to my brother.
Thank you, Aaron. When
But yeah, I just water for me today.
All right.
I have fancy tea and a new tea mug that I haven't been able to show yet.
Cute.
Isn't it adorable? I got this for Christmas. It says "Stay Wild, Moonchild." It's a deep blue, and for those of you on the podcast, it is like almost like a Ouija board kind of like motif, but it's a lot of like sun, moon. It says the yes and the no, and it's got the numbers under it. But it's so cute, and it's a nice like big mug. I love. A good hefty mug, and today it is filled with Egyptian licorice tea again, which is one of my favorites.
You love that. You love that Egyptian.
I love warm, like spiced teas. They're just so cozy to me in the wintertime, and in the evenings we film this pretty late, so I don't always want caffeine, and so that really limits my options. It's like, do I want something like sweet and minty, something like light and flowery? Like sometimes I'll do like the sleepy time blends, like the chamomile and the lavender. But when we do the podcast, I want something that I can just like cozy into, and so the Egyptian licorice is really good for that. I really love it.
Oh my gosh. You make me want that now. I'm not a fan of that.
I think recommend,
but you make me want to like it. But yeah, so I guess with all that deliciousness in our tummies and in our hearts, it's time for us to look above and beyond to the stars and see what continues to color what's popping right now. Is the chart up? We good?
Over here.
Yes. Okay, cool. Hi everyone. It's me! We're going to talk about this full moon in Leo. Also, for those who are wondering where the full moon in Cancer episode is, sorry.
We straight up just didn't do it.
We did not do it. We kind of covered it in the 2023 year ahead episode, but nothing crazy. If you're happening to be curious and wondering where it is, it
was the holidays. It was too busy. We needed a break.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah,
we were sick.
No worries. Yeah. Oh yeah, all of us. Yeah, all of us were ill.
Guess what? You're here. You got through it but you can't get through any more.
We live
without
another
us.
day.
So make sure you tune in every time we do it. I'm just kidding.
This is totally not a threat.
What would you guys do without us? So
was your full moon in Cancer terrible? Well. That's
then we should have helped you. We weren't there for you, and we're so sorry. We're mother gothling you right now.
Yeah.
You know what we can do for you more? Patreon.
But we got this we got this full moon in Leo coming up. So here's some just solid full moon facts. It's going to be on Sunday, February 5th. It's going to be exact at around 1:30 p.m. EST. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that full moon, but of course we're still going to feel it. We're going to be able to absorb it. So that's around 10:30 a.m. PST, 6:30 p.m. GMT. Y'all might be able to see it. Good for you. But before we get into the full moon itself, let's talk about Leo energy. Okay, so Leo energy, what is it? It's fire energy. It's fixed. It's a fixed sign. So it's quite consistent in the way that it outputs energy, which is really interesting when we think about fire signs, because when we think about fire signs, we think about just pure energy output. And I feel that Leos are the most consistent kind of exerting of energy with fire, and it's ruled by the sun itself. Which, I mean, you combine fire element with the sun, and you get boom, vibrant, radiant. Yes, the one. So I'm surrounded by Leos, and my mom's a Leo, my partner's a Leo. Like those are the two people.
Me and you are in the same boat here at this one, because my mom's also Leo and my boyfriend's also Leo too. So
we have a type. Yeah,
share Leo with
like
me.
Leos.
Share Leo with me.
And Leos like to be liked.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
And one thing that I've seen throughout my life with Leos, and I think that the Leo-Aquarius axis is the most misunderstood in astrology. I've talked about the misunderstandings of the Aquarians on the last Aquarius full moon podcast, but I think that it kind of rolls the same for Leo, because when I'm just going to throw out a bunch of like stereotypical Leo things, which is like, they're the life of the party, and, you know, they're just like this exuberant actor and larger than life person. And I don't necessarily think that's how most Leo things translate. However, what they do without them meaning to, is that they can very naturally control and fill up a room with their energy. When they speak, they command attention, heads turn.
They're
it's
just
magic.
natural. They rule. They have a natural +10 on charisma over everybody
Definitely.
else.
I love that. Yes, 100%. Without them even knowing, without them even like
not trying at all.
Exactly. And I think that sometimes some Leos are really smart and recognize that and then utilize it and then become this big filling up of space energy. But the two Leos I know, my mom and my partner, they are not loud extroverts like most Leos are considered to be, but they have such a royal and commandeering energy that is amazing to watch because they're mostly quiet, but when they speak, it feels like the whole room hushes and the attention is directed towards them. It's really awesome to behold. It's so subtle and so powerful.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, all the like Leos that I have in my life, they're all introverts.
Yeah,
but they have that kind of like extrovert like appearance with what it comes like when it comes to how other people perceive them, how their energy translates to others. They're total introverts, but they command a room.
Yes, whether they like it or not.
The couple of Leos that I've known in my life are, funnily enough, musicians, center stage vocalists, guitarists. And the Leo ruled people that I'm familiar with now are very much like natural born leaders, even while taking back seat roles or like background roles. Everyone still kind of turns to them for like kind of guidance or like what are they going to do first. Natural leaders, like just natural. Everybody thinks that it's not even thinking, it's a magnetism. That's how I would describe it.
Yes, that's the word I always use to describe my partner and my mom. They are magnetizing, and they both actually have jobs where they're often the one that's consulted and they're the ones that just has this natural charisma to inspire their boss, you know what I mean? And sort of ends up being this person that is able to play all sides of the field magnificently and flawlessly because they are just so easily inspirational. I find they're mood lifters, they're soul driven, they're very unlikely to compromise on their ideals, their ethics, their morals because of that sun ego energy, right? And I think it's important to talk about ego with Leo, and I don't think ego's a bad word. I've mentioned this before because egos are what make us like as individuals, but I think that the Leos I've met have had the loudest egos where they are just very unapologetic with who they are ultimately, and
they're very like consistent too with like who they are, like the Leos that I know, they don't change much like over the course of time and even like years and everything. Like they're very solidly themselves.
So this is the fixed fire sign, and I liked what you said, like they're like consistent, and in Aries I feel like is impulsive and fickle. And,
same with like Sagittarius,
I feel like I wouldn't quite say impulsive and fickle as I would for Aries. I would say more like highly focused, consistent for an arrow, for a straight shot, and then it's gone until they figure out the next thing they want to shoot an arrow of energy
Sagittarians can get spirited away very easily.
Flow is like a word that like came to my mind about like Sagittarians. Like they go with the flow for a while and then they're like on to the next current and then like down the next current.
So they could get wrapped up in something that they like their energy doesn't necessarily want to be on long term, and that's why they grab the next like drift of wind to get them to go somewhere else, and that's very, so there's flightiness to it, but it's like not in the same way that I would describe like the Aries energy. Aries is that impulsive, heated burst of energy, and that's usually like, it feels like, I guess Aries bursts are out of their control and Sagittarians are very much like in their control, but it's like for specific, like, I don't know if, anyway, back to Leo.
No, I agree with that. Like, I find Leo energy to be very inspirational, at least for me. This is I guess, a subjective conjecture, but like I find Leos to be, because of that consistency, because of their uncompromising morals and ethics, they are who they are. And I think ultimately anyone can embody this idea, but I think that Leo energy, untouched by anything else in the chart, is the most likely to be able to sort of step into their unapologetic truest self, the most easiest, because of that sun. Because when we think of the sun in our astrology charts, that's the one that we always talk about. That's the one where we go, yeah, I'm a Gemini, right? And it is a purest form of our vitality that we share with each other. So when you have like a lot of Leo energy, I feel like that vitality is very easily just expanded and exuded from you. And I think that Leos just have that natural explosion of self.
And then I like to be a little bit of a naysayer, and but like for Leos, when it comes to like maybe like negative perceptions, or I do feel like there's the ego is a big key player here, but there's a pride issue, and I want to say like a stubbornness, where it's like they can get so caught up in like the heat of whatever it is that they're portraying at the moment that they're not going to back down from it, even if inside they're starting to feel like they don't believe it anymore. There's big pride issues with Leos. And they also love attention to a fault, where they might find themselves in precarious situations in the pursuit of that attention, which can play out in a lot of
like almost giving into like peer pressure and things like that a lot. Like don't want to be like out of the group, like have to be in the group, have to be like forward.
They don't want to dull the vibe.
They're gonna chug.
Yes, exactly, for the good of the group, essentially.
They don't want to be a word that I've heard a lot.
They're gonna chug the 6-pack of beer because everyone's like, oh, do it, yeah, he's so great, he's gonna do it, like, and they want to be that great. They want to be, so they'll do like things that they might also regret. For the sake of attention.
They tend to also have that kind of like keeping up with the Jeffersons kind of vibe, where like they want to exude this appearance in society or whatever, and they cannot ever appear to fall below that appearance, like
for themselves.
for themselves. It's for themselves, and that's the pride part of it coming up. But they like, I know like sometimes they will like get into danger territory just trying to keep up appearances and to keep up with other people.
I mean, so. I could speak on both my mother and my partner, not to dox them, but I know that when they're not feeling their best selves, they disappear from the public eye. They're very good at disappearing.
I can 100% confirm.
They're kitty cats. I like to think of Leos as cat temperaments. They want to be pet on the head and told they're pretty kitty, but only the way they want to be petted and only when they want you to pet them. Otherwise, rare, and they're gonna go hide. They're sassy. Yeah. They're deep. There's a little bit of diva energy. But there's another really cool thing about like the cat thing, where it's like a consensual thing. Like the cats will let you interact with them if you are coming at the cat with the right energy, not if you're forcing that cat to let you. So, and this could be like looked at from like a movie star type of Leo or something. Like they're going to play the game if they feel respected, but if they just feel like a monkey on a string or whatever, like a puppet, like they're being puppeteered around, then they're going to start to rebel again. And it's not Elvis because I just looked at his chart, but it feels like Elvis energy, but that was his Sag rising, I'm sure. The fire, maybe.
Fire. Yeah, but that's Leo energy, and I implore everyone to check out their charts, see where if you got any Leo energy sitting in there. I personally have an empty Leo house, got nothing in there, so but I'm surrounded by Leos. I love them. They're one of my favorite signs. I love the axis in general, that Leo Aquarius axis. Some of the most fascinating individuals.
They're my favorite fire sign.
Yeah,
I'll say.
Hold on,
cool. and I say that as someone with a lot of Sagittarius in my chart.
I was like, what about Sagittarius? Hold on.
We're not going there.
I really do. I think I would agree. I really love Leos. Sagittarians are dangerous. They're spicy. They're a little unreliable. So the reliability and the I also think there's there's a spiciness to the Sagittarius where they could kind of like burn you a little bit just for fun, just because they think it's fun. And the Leo, I think is going to do everything in their power to warm you with the flame instead of accidentally but accidents
Aries
can always
are just
happen.
Clinically insane.
Yeah,
and they'll just do whatever the fuck they want.
They scare me a little bit.
They're
that's what
a little bit.
They're an untempered flame, so it's all over, and they'll hurt themselves sometimes. And
listen,
Aries
have their own type of magic, but they terrify me. So, but more power to the Aries out there.
If you ever can't get shit done and you need someone to light a fire under your ass, go to the Aries, though. That's for sure.
They're like really your coach, your life coach, or that's what you want to like be your workout coach. Is an Aries.
Honestly, yeah, actually. Someone with their Mars and Aries too. Okay.
I just double checked my chart and I too have 0 Leo. So maybe that's why we're both so drawn to Leo.
I have 0 Leo also. I have 0 Leo, but I have a Sagittarius stellium. And I think that's why I keep like literally playing with fire with the Sagittarius.
I think the reason that I'm feeling attracted towards
Leos are my favorite.
towards Leos right now is because of their natural confidence, and I want to be around people that have that so that it can rub off on me. I think that's why I'm finding myself really like I want Leos around me. I think that's the main thing. And I also think that confidence isn't quite the right word. It's just
they're radiant.
Yeah,
they're vibrant.
Like where Gemini are suffering under a constant existential identity crisis, Leos don't have that problem at all.
It's not even on their radar. Like to them, there's no other alternative at all to being like they can't be like self-conscious. It's just it is what it is.
They are who they are. They show up, they present themselves, they're unapologetic in it, and you either like it or you don't, and they're okay with that. They are who they are, and the longer they live, the more comfortable they step into that self-confidence. It is ultimately self-confidence, but it's such a subtle, powerful, radiant self-confidence that I think other signs, I don't know, maybe it doesn't come as naturally. But shout out to Leos, you all rule. We're all big fans, it sounds like. So you all passed the Celestial Cafe vibe check. Good for you. Because I know you're all really desiring our approval for your sign. We should
do content that's like Celestial Cafe roasts Leos or roasts Aquarius or roasts whatever, because we usually come at
that's what TikTok's
that would be
for.
Such a fun mini series.
Like a TikTok or something, because it or a 10-minute YouTube video or something, because we usually come at the signs with a lot of love when we're talking about them in these episodes.
I feel like we could do like a whole mini, so I feel like we've been talking about Leos alone for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, of course we could, and they fucking love that, wouldn't they? They'd love a 20-minute episode just about
So now let's turn away from just Leo energy in general. I want to direct the attention to this full moon in particular, which is going to be pretty interesting. So before I get into any specifics, I'm going to shout out some keywords that I'm picking up on just like me vibing with this chart. This is definitely a fiery, assertive, sanguine, however, moon. As long, and this is what I exactly wrote, as long as you can uphold and fight for your right to party. As long as you can stay, I don't know, just like in your power. And I'll explain more of that. So the first thing I like to look at, of course, is the moon in Leo. And like I said, Leo's ruled by the sun. We check out the sun, which is in Aquarius. And straight up, the sun is not comfy in Aquarius. That is not his happy place. But I think that, and for the record, it's Aquarius ruled by Saturn. Right. And we talk about Saturn quite a bit here. Saturn's kind of a tough planet to digest. A couple of us are going to start going through our Saturn return soon, which will be interesting. Which we're not going to be talking about in this episode. We're going to be talking about the Saturn moving into Pisces next full moon, because we're going to be a little closer to that. But so spoilers, that's going to be a pretty big discussion part of our next full moon episode. But so when I think about like the moon in Leo, it's being ruled by the sun in Aquarius. Sun's not comfortable, but I think that we should really embody the Leo part of this, where bold and fearless action is really, really good and powerful right now. This is not the time to overthink. This is not the time to lean into your lack of self-confidence. It is time to do what feels, capital F, right. And if you're feeling unconfident, if you're feeling a little bit on rocky waters, this is also a really good moon for seeking out loved ones and even being straight up with them and being like, hey, I'm feeling like crap. Can you like cheerlead for me for a second? Or like, hey, I need to vent for a little bit. Like, and I'm not really looking for advice. Can you just like sort of bounce off of me? And that's kind of because of the moon trine Jupiter in Aries. So there's another like fire sign dance that's happening here. And Jupiter's all about like surrounding yourself with so much. It's a very busy planet. And for me, just seeing that, it seems like such a good dance to sort of lean into your loved ones, the ones who do see your inherent light, the ones that do see your just beautiful, vibrant soul that all of us have. And that kind of leads us into the whole dilemma with this moon, which is, I think that this is a great moon for creating boundaries with those who don't see your inherent light, with those who don't recognize your truth.
Yeah, tell these assholes to fuck off straight up.
This is a great boundary setting moon because of that influence with the sun in Aquarius. Like I said, Saturn rules boundaries, rules restrictions, rules limits. So now it's time to limit the people that make you feel less than, that make you feel dim, that make you feel heavy and just not light and free. This is a moon all about creating boundaries and blockages radically so that you can express yourself without fear. Because I think that a lot of times, I mean, fear, of course, is such a big, scary word. It means a lot of different things. But I think that this moon is really good with regarding fear of those around you. And you have more power than you think to control who gets access to your energy or not. And this will be a great moon for setting those really strong boundaries. But listen, the moon is also sextile Mars, which we talk about Mars a lot too. Mars and Saturn are the two malefics in the sky. They're tougher than normal planets because they just have a lot of energy signatures that denote action taking, and Mars in particular is so dry, so fiery in and of itself. Mars is in Gemini right now, so that's going to involve communication, and this is probably going to feel a bit of like a spontaneous and energetic moon as well. But I think that, I don't know, this moon just really feels like people are not going to like the boundaries you set. You know, so maybe when you do and create these boundaries, maybe expect a bit of a fight, a bit of pushback. But if anything, that should help solidify the fact that the boundary needs to be set, right? And I mean, another dance that's happening and has been happening for a while. Venus has been dancing with Mars for a few months. And finally, we're going to be closing out this Venus-Martian dance routine. The cycle is coming to a close because Venus is square. We've talked about squares, tension, friction. And we think about Venus, which is the planet that brings people together, while Mars is kind of the spear that forces them apart. And it's going to be that dance that happens, right? So it's a good time to think, who do you want to welcome and keep close in this Venusian softness that all of us have, and who needs to be under Mars's sword right now? Who needs to be cut off, and who needs to be released from your life, from your personal space? You know,
Bye,
this is,
you gotta go. I'm sorry.
it was only a matter of time. Hey, now I'm mad. See, that's smart. That's Mars. How dare? Oh, but this is important tension, right? And because Saturn's also in the mix, Saturn is long term. Saturn is also ending a cycle. Like I said, I'm going to be talking more about that next podcast. I don't want to fill up with too much Mars or Saturn stuff right now, because this is, I feel, a pretty important moon to just kind of focus on. But Saturn's going to be moving into Pisces pretty soon. So Saturn's also ending a cycle, and Saturn rules time, rules, like I said, boundaries and restrictions. So this is a really good time to wrap up these loose ends with bad habits, long-term issues, long-term individuals that have been sticking around for too long. And Saturn, another reason why this is such a good time is like Saturn is kind of dancing with the sun right now. Saturn's also in Aquarius, so I don't know. There's a lot of flow happening that is leading me towards this conversation of releasing voices and mindsets and habits and individuals that keep you feeling, in particular, dull and dim and not even shy, but insecure. I think because the moon in Leo, you're just supposed to be just big energy, right?
I think that insecurity would cause the shyness, because you, like with the Leo energy, it's supposed to be like, I'm like, well, think of it in terms of an actor going on stage to deliver a monologue, and then there's that one person in the audience that's like, hey, look at their nose, what a loser. And then all of a sudden the Leo's like, oh, I forgot my monologue. I don't even know how to perform anymore. And then they have to go backstage sulking and crying and be petted on the head and told what a pretty kitty they are for an hour, like before they can go back on stage. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I wrote the phrase important tension.
The Leo could have just been like, rawr, and kicked that person out of the audience. Like, could have released the claws for just a second, and that would have been okay. Yeah,
this is definitely a claws out moment, because you're protecting your peace. You're protecting yourself from individuals' mind, and this I'm talking a lot about individuals right now, because I don't know, with the Mars and Gemini energy, I am feeling like a lot of communication with others and sort of convening with others. But this also could be conversations you have with yourself, with habits that you're upholding that dull and dim you, with mindsets and issues that you've been holding on to for a long time. This is an awesome burning in a violet flame moment where you just let it all go.
You are
radically.
You are your own heckler.
The way I always look at, because I am not that really good at looking at astrology charts like you. I don't look at them in depth, but one of the thing that always stands out to me when I see a chart like this is that almost everything is in the top half. So it's the interpersonal houses that have to do with dealing with others, dealing with society, your job, on the interpersonal level. But at the same time, what is in the personal houses is the moon. So it's like it's bringing that personal energy that you have to deal with it into these interpersonal spaces.
Yeah, it's a pretty steep seesaw, right? That seems to be deeply skewed towards one side. And that's why I think it's so important to lean so deep into this voracious Leo moon energy, this bold and fearless action, right? And just instead of thinking and rolling it, I don't view Leos as just like thinkers. They're more of doers. And that's why you do what feels right. And you know right away who in your life just doesn't fit with your molds, who doesn't fit in this gigantic, beautiful puzzle that creates who you are, because we're all just various pieces of our loved ones. And you are who you hang out with. You are who you surround yourself with. And I think that's important too. This is a good time for a bit of a culling of anything that doesn't fit. It always is. But this is especially one that's deeply radical, deeply correlated to your identity, and just creating new rules, new authority, new regulations for your life. And I think that's an interesting way to look at it too, like just sort of like a rule set for yourself, a code of conduct that you want to follow and that you want to embody and carry with you. And rather than just like, this person doesn't work for me. Why don't they work for you? What about them how do they not align with your ethos? How does your habit of waking up at 5 p.m. every day not align with your ethos and your morals? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. I mean, if it works for you, that's great. But if it doesn't, why? And I think it's sort of answering those questions and being assertive and fighting for that a little bit. And like I said, Mars kind of coming in, people might push back. You might push back. You might feel a little attacked. Hey, and a little defensive and a little aggressive. But this feels very much the energy signature I picked up on. It reminds me of wheels on asphalt, and it's going. You're not going anywhere yet, but you're starting to create these foundations so that you can move forward better and more in control. And there's the smell of rubbers in the air, and it's
like pre-chariot energy.
Yeah, and it's very radical, and it's very loud.
It's like that
and
tarot
it's very
deck,
fiery.
The tarot before, tarot after. And so like it's before the chariot, and he's like saddling up the lions and like putting the wheels on his chariot and prepping to go forward.
Fuchsia literally has that deck right now.
Well, this is the after tarot, but it's funny because you were deafened when I pulled it out. It was like, I feel weird like doing this podcast without a deck on my desk just in case we need to grab it for something. So I grabbed it. I'm like, I never use this deck, but I pulled it for that.
And so it's funny that's being mentioned.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't hear that because you were deafened.
I was, yeah.
So I want to leave this with like this attention, this friction is important. Listen to it. Pay attention to some of the friction that you're experiencing in your life with others and with yourself. And it's time to burn it. Let it all go. It really, really, this is an awesome time to give it to fire and allow it to burn in a beautiful crimson flame. And wrapping up a lot of these loose ends and long-term issues, it's going to be great so that you can sort of start on a new page with Saturn going into Pisces next month. I mean, Mars is going to be moving around next month too. That's going to be nice. But I want to leave you all with some thoughts, like how do you limit yourself, and who do you surround yourself with, and how do they potentially limit you? Hopefully they don't. In a perfect world, no one in your personal life limits you, but it's good to take stock of this. And how can you better advocate for your inner fire and your inner light? How can you better stand up for yourself and stand up for and embody the person that you want to be and the person you also are, right? Because that's the problem solving, right? Like we all think that we want to be the people that we want to be, but secretly we already are those people. We just have to mold our life to allow that person to come out, right? So this is a very much an editing full moon, but pretty radical editing. And especially if you're going to be involving others or involving long-term habits that you've been stuck with, which we were talking about earlier, actually, that we want to release. It might be a little uncomfortable. Mars is going to poke its silly little head in, and might feel a little bit of a burn, but there might be a bit of discomfort. But it's really important to take stock of who's dulling your light and who is stoking your joy at the same time, and how to release more of the individuals and mindsets that keep you, I don't know, like a candle blown out, and those who cradle your flame and make you feel good, empowered, creative, happy, joyful, excited. You know, that's the priority for this full moon. That's the energy that's on our heels right now. And I know it's big energy. Like I said, something I mentioned in our last we didn't have a Cancer full moon, but I said this last time. I was like, this full moon in Cancer that just passed, was like very much eye of the storm. It was such a calming moment as we sort of get thrown back into this celestial mindfuck and
What's the name of my
empowerment.
new metal band? Celestial Mindfuck.
That's just what I'm feeling, and that's honestly all that I got. Because we got that, like I said, next full moon, we're gonna be talking about a lot of really exciting movement in the sky. But this is allow this to prepare yourself for a lot of big celestial shifts that are happening as planets start to delve into new science. And seriously, really, really reflect. And this is, I mean, but also don't overthink it. You capital K know who is right and who is wrong in your life, and what is sticking and what shouldn't be. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Just do it, right? And this is one of those moons where you're being encouraged to take mindful, powerful action. I know I have to for my habits.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that we
think that I have to just imagine that I'm playing a video game, because like I watch how I play Final Fantasy 11 and how much money I made, how quickly I made it, and same thing in Stardew. Like I'm so good at video games when it comes to like money and getting the level ups that I need and doing the tasks and watering all of my crops in Stardew Valley, even though I have 60 seeds planted already, and I still sit there and do it, and that's like doing one push up, water the flower, or whatever. I don't do push-ups. I can't with a broken wrist, but a sit up or an arm or whatever the minute exercise is. But like I have to just get out of bed, and then the same way every day I'm going live no matter how I'm feeling, and I've got my workarounds. Like I'm feeling especially crappy today. Okay, I'll have a VTuber up. So I don't have to be on camera. Okay, I'm feeling crappy today. I'm not going to do like intense cardio. I'll do like yin yoga or something. But I'm still moving. I've still got to every day got to do this movement, and then so much that it's a habit, and I can't live without it anymore. Like I feel, and on days where I don't stream, it's hard for me on weekends because I'm like, well, I could stream. Like I should, because I'm so used to the habit at that point. And I don't know how to take the time off anymore. So it's the same thing. Like I gotta get, and that's the thing, like pushing through and like courageously tackling these things that are in your best interest and you haven't been doing. And I feel like a broken record because I feel like a year ago I was saying these same things, but I feel like 5 years ago I was saying the same things. So
listen, all we could do is our best every day, and our best changes every single day, every single moment. And this is another alignment moment from the stars. There's going to be many more. If this one you can't seem to follow or chase, that's okay. But just know that you will be astrologically supported if you choose to make these radical shifts. And something that I'm keeping in mind. So
Speaking of Leos,
hi, little baby. That's a little
Avocado came to say hi, and he is a Leo.
Aw, Avocado the Leo. So my mom right now is reading Atomic Habits, which is a book that we've mentioned on here before. And she mentioned a line from the book the other day, which was every time that let's say we want to journal every day. Let's say that that's a goal of ours. Every time we actually do sit down and journal, we're creating a vote for ourselves, for the self that we want to be. We're advocating and choosing ourself in that moment, right? And I think that's a powerful image where like, and all those votes start to add up. All those bicep curls that we do to strengthen our resolve, to strengthen our habit, it adds up. No one's a bodybuilder overnight. No one is president overnight. If we're gonna look at like votes, right? Like it has to add up, and we have to advocate for ourselves, and it gets stronger and stronger every time. Baby steps, so important.
And if you're really vibing with like what we're talking about now too, we go really in depth over like this whole conversation in our last episode that we did, which was like the tarot vibe check episode. So we talk a lot about like how to build healthy habits and what we're feeling and with like what's going on in the world right now and everything, and how to like move out of this or make the best of the current situation. So I feel like we keep talking about like habits so much right now. It's just like something that I think we're all actually kind of working on. Yeah.
I think it's something that we share a lot with each other, and we have the whole time we've been doing this podcast, is we talk a lot about effective morning routines and habit building and various girl boss topics like that. I feel like we're all like trying to help each other get our lives together, and we speak the language of the stars, and this is how we like communicate through it and make sense of it and navigate it. And I think it also helps us, like gives grace to us in these moments of like, wow, I'm not doing shit, but that's right, Mars is in Pisces right now. God, it's hard to get shit done when Mars is in Pisces. Or me, that's my chart, Mars and Pisces. No wonder I'm so lazy, but it helps you make sense of it, and also maybe blame yourself a little bit less. And that's why I like paganism, or whatever word to use for it, where it's like we're part of this larger system and not everything is a pigeon superstition. Yeah.
Right. Where we're all in this together. We're all mirrors of ourselves and the stars. And it's funny how all these subtleties end up being reflected every month as we discuss this. And it's interesting to see a lot of similar discussion points being brought up in succession to each other. We're all on the same wavelength, whether we like it or not. And anyone who's here in this liminal celestial cafe space, we're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
Ooh, that was
that's all I got.
Pop culture. It was pop culture. That was it.
Yeah, that's what I call pop culture.
That was the first one tonight.
Yeah, what do you know?
We kept it together.
You can tell Shady's not feeling great.
All of the anti-pop culture people are like, God, can she have more migraines?
But yeah, I think that's it for me. But stay tuned for the next full moon episode. We're going to be talking a lot about a lot of big shifts. Allow this to create space so that you can welcome in some new energy with the next time, and seriously, really deeply reflect on those who are dulling your light, the ideas that are keeping you small and insecure and confused and scared, and radically throw them away. Even if they push back, even if they say, no, I want to say, no, you know best. You capital K, know best. You capital F, feel it. It don't deny yourself of that beautiful compass that all of us have within all of us. It's loud. It's annoying because it's hard to make these decisions, and it's hard to fight for and advocate for ourselves sometimes, but this is an awesome astrological moment to fearlessly, courageously choose ourselves radically. You got this. I believe in you. That's
Wonderful.
all I got.
Incredible. Excellent. So where shall we jump to next? Do we want to do Imbolc? Do we want to do Cold Moon?
Snow Moon.
Oh, Snow Moon.
Oh, we can do Snow Moon. Yeah. Cold Moon was December, so we're good.
Whoopsies. Okay, popping over here.
Right. So the Snow Moon is the traditional name for February's full moon. And this particular name comes from a lot of different cultures, but specifically the Dakota peoples. And it was adopted kind of by colonial Americans, and that is why it becomes the most popular name today. But so this name was chosen because of the heavy snowfall that typically occurs during North America during this time. So the Snow Moon takes place during like this period of like post winter solstice. The world is still very dark. We're past the darkest day, but it's still very cold. This is typically the heaviest snowfall of the season too, around this time of the year. And we are really excited for the return of the sun, right? The people back then, the sun is life, is warmth, is livelihood, right? So this was all about looking forward to fire and also appreciating the fire that they had and that kept them warm on these cold winter nights. So this moon is typically associated with the element of fire, which I think is super interesting, considering that Imbolc as well is a fire festival and so on. So there's a lot of like similarities here in general. But so this moon is all about kind of like stoking your internal flame. It's about like mediated self growth, kind of safe and controlled, but still progression forward. So some magical workings that you can do during this time can center around responsibility, personal development, growth, like reevaluating yourself. You can do hearth or home workings. This is a great time to do protection on your home, meditation, astral travel, and dream work. So kind of turning inward there, and then focusing on like seed magic or blessing your seeds for the upcoming season and things like that.
That's nice.
It's really like it's so soft. I think that magically speaking, this is my favorite time of the year. Like this period between Imbolc and Beltane, because it's still cold enough where I'm not distracted by the outdoors fully yet, and I can really like focus on the inward. Like these are the Sabbats that I do like the most cooking for and so on, and the most like full moon workings and stuff too. I don't know why. I just like. Really, I need it during this time, I think.
Yeah.
So since this moon is corresponding with the element of fire, so the other correspondences that we see here are the colors are purple, blue, white, silver, and pink. So we kind of have that snowy landscape with like either the sunset or the sunrise coming up. That light,
it feels like Bob
pinkish,
Ross.
warm tones. Exactly. Yeah. Some crystals that are great to work with during this time are rose quartz, amethyst, and jasper. Great deities to appreciate during this time are Aphrodite, Bridget, Juno, and Mars. Yeah.
Our homies.
Some great herbs are hyssop, sage, myrrh, and rose. And then some awesome trees to work with during this time are rowan or myrtle trees. So it's kind of unique. Like we don't often hear those trees covered in throughout the rest. So if you have those trees in your area, it might be a good time to try and work them into some of your magic. So then we have the tarot spread. So this is a good way for you to kind of further connect yourself to the energies of this season. And if you guys want to go ahead and pull some cards, feel free to share them with us in the Celestial Cafe Discord, or you can just kind of like follow along with us. But so the first question is, how can I stoke my internal fire? So how can you kind of like give yourself some of that extra energy during this time?
Yeah.
Then the second card is, what area of my life needs the most growth? So you can stoke that fire, but then where do you apply that to? Where do you need to direct that energy towards? And then lastly, how can I best set myself up for long-term success? So kind of like the seed magic there. Like you're kind of like creating the blueprints or the plans so that you can hurry on forward and be successful with where you're applying your energy.
So it's kind of interesting because like a lot of the heady part of what I did talk about with the moon was very much like go energy, and I almost feel like sort of utilizing the astrology to make those hard shifts and then sort of settling into this radical softness that you're encouraging through like this more grounded approach with the snow moon, sort of backing it up. Okay, so now you've sort of released a lot of habits and a lot of individuals that no longer serve you. So now let's stoke the fire, right, in a healthy way.
Exactly.
Sort of reconnect with it. So I like how these two things are kind of hand in hand.
We talked a lot about in our last episode about how motivation is like hard to come by, and it's not something that is just like, it's not something to rely on. But this moon is very much about like giving yourself that motivation or like, you know, that spark, that passion again. So I like how this is, and this is a time where I definitely like need that right now.
Yeah,
I need some extra fire in my life.
Interesting. Did anyone pull any cards for this?
Well,
I'm working on it.
For the first card, how can I stoke my internal fire? I got the Nine of Cups. So I'm just gonna say, you know, yay. take time for myself and take care of myself
Gratitude.
and focus on so
Appreciating all the good shit you got around you, and then using that to inspire you, right?
Yeah, because like the Nine of Cups is right before the Ten of Cups. The Nine of Cups is more self-focused. So, and like focusing on what you have and like enjoying
we talked a lot
that.
about. Yeah, we talked a lot about ego. I consider that to be a very ego card on both ends of the spectrum. I feel like reversed is like, you're too self-obsessed and too
every time I look at the Rider-Waite-Smith version of it, I just think of immediately your voice pops into my head. Look at this smug motherfucker. You said that like the first time I was like in one of your tarot readings, and it has stuck with me.
Oh yeah, and that's literally what I think every time. It's just like, damn, this guy's got it all, and he knows he's got it all. Yeah.
And that can be good or bad. Like the Nine of Cups, like energy can be very, very great. Like you worked for this, you enjoy it, but it can also be like, don't be so full of yourself.
Yeah, like reel it in a little bit. Like take
in this card, this is the Witchling Academy deck. I was going to say it's the Little Witch Academia deck. It's not officially the Little Witch Academia deck, but it's pretty much is. But she's in a little like unicorn onesie. If you can see for the podcast, she's in a unicorn onesie and she's meditating. And she's got 4 cups out in front of her and 5 cups on the bed behind her, and she's meditating. She's just like totally zen and unicorn onesie. Come on, perfect. Maybe this card is saying, how can I stoke my eternal fire? Wear my unicorn onesies more.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
because now that like since I lost weight since the summer, I fit into my other onesie. So
there you go, and celebrate that by wearing the blessed unicorn
wearing it. Yes. Yeah.
I agree.
There we go.
I got for my stoking, I got an interesting one. I got the 4 of Cups.
Ho hum. I saw someone the other day, I can't remember if it was on our Discord or not, but someone was talking about that card and they were like, I asked for no sugar in my latte. Was like a way that they phrase that card. Like it's like someone in a coffee shop that gets a delicious coffee, but they're like, you put whipped cream on this, and I didn't want whipped cream, but it's still like flashback 5 billion years or whatever when you're a starving caveman, and it's like doesn't matter if there's whipped cream, sugar, what kind of milk is in it. You're just happy to have this delicious, wonderful beverage, right?
Yeah, and I find this is kind of interesting card. I don't get this card a lot for myself, honestly, because this is a card I also think about like missed opportunities and just sort of like and in line with like the latte story. It's sort of like not appreciating the goodness when you receive it, not even noticing that it's there, not even noticing the cool stuff that shows up, simply because you're just so caught up in other things, and it's just all about tapping in, being more aware, not missing opportunities. I feel like missed opportunities are something that's been rolling around in my head a lot, where I don't know, I haven't been very active in many things, and I worry that I lost some invitations because of that. Like universal invitations, due to me sort of hermiting throughout this winter season. And so it's kind of interesting stoking the flame, just maybe even noticing when the flame is there in the first place, right? Yeah, I've definitely been feeling a bit, I've been using this word a lot tonight, a bit dulled this holiday season. And I think it was good for me for a little bit because I was feeling a little bit overstimulated near the end of the year, but now I think it's time for me to start tapping back in and reconnecting. And I also, just for the record, I got the Tower reverse and Hanged Man reverse, so it's just telling me to fix my shit up. Just like, yeah, just like, and start grooving, start schmooving, grooving. I don't need to think anymore. I don't need to plan anymore. Just in general, right? Like it's it's time to move. And I relate to that, and just sort of recalibrating is a word I've been using a lot. Just reconnecting. Because I've been a little out of touch. I'm out of touch.
Out of time.
Oh, it's out of touch Thursday.
It is.
Perfect.
That's a thing.
So
Oh,
yes. So even my brother knows about it, and he doesn't know anyway.
He doesn't know anything.
Well, he doesn't. He doesn't know a lot about like.
Well, I know even less.
Anyway. So for me, how can I stoke my internal fire? I actually drew the sun card.
Aw, perfect.
Which does make me feel like I just need to get outside. I've been at my computer too much. How can I stoke my internal fire? I think get away from the computer for a little bit. And the middle one, I kind of feel like I need a little help on. What area of my life needs the most growth? I drew 9 of Wands, and on this deck it says test of strength and perseverance.
So to me, 9 of Wands is always about like finishing the projects you start.
Yes.
Like you're so close. You're almost there and then you let it drop.
What?
So one thing that comes to mind for you is you've tried so hard to get a consistent workout routine and get your sleep schedule set up, and you're almost there every time. You're consistent for so long and then it drops.
Yeah.
And you're consistent for so long and then it drops.
It's good for like I was the last time I did it was over December, a little maybe November, and I was good for about 2 weeks, and then in a span of 4 days it just completely reversed, and then it's just I'm trapped. And that's not what I get. Yeah, I guess that is kind of the last one I drew. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, one thing I just want to say about the 9 of Wands is that the 9 of Wands is not a pleasant card. It hurts. You're usually bruised. You're usually beaten up.
It's a long journey. It's not a short one.
So like, and it's acknowledging that. It's like, yes, I know you're exhausted. I know you just want to throw in the towel, but please, you're so close to connecting these pieces together. Hang in there. That's always what I see with the 9 of Wands. Just stick with it a little longer. You got this.
And then I have how can I best set myself up for long-term success? And it's 7 of Rings, which is the 7 of Pentacles, investment and diligence. And I think that's actually pretty straightforward to me. The way that I felt when I looked at it was like, quit thinking right here in front of my face and start looking like 2 months down the line. Like, what do I do today that's going to affect me 2 months from now? Long-term investment, investment and diligence is like, I think that the card originally is tending the garden, a person with a hoe tending a garden with plants just starting to flower. And how long has it taken that person to grow those plants? And how much sacrifice did they have to put in to tend to those plants every day to get them to that point? And they still have to keep going because it's not quite time to harvest yet.
And also checking in with yourself, was this journey worth it? Is the harvest worth it? Or should I put my attention elsewhere?
Yeah, because sometimes you try to grow tomatoes and you only get 2 at the end of the season and you spent hours like pruning those suckers. So sometimes you got to switch to what's actually working, right? But your broccoli, which you neglected, is doing great. So maybe there's something to focus on instead.
Okay, so for mine, it feels like focus on what makes me happy. Focus on what's going to make my body happy. I actually want to say, because I've already been focusing on what makes my mind happy, like my ego, my like the little baby mode of like I want to play video games and drink soda all day. So focus on what's going to make my body happy. What area of life needs the most focus? The area that's been the hardest journey, and so close to doing a good job at it, and to keep just kind of dropping the ball. And then setting up the long-term success is, I guess, making the commitment to invest in it. I don't know. It sucks because this is why I don't even fuck with tarot lately, is because I know it's one of these moments where it's just like, I already know, and I don't even need to pull the cards because I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like it's that kind of thing. I don't need an intuitive check-in because it's practical at this point. Like it's right in front of my face, and I don't need an intuitive check-in. And then you just start to get pissed off at the cards. You're like, shut the fuck up. Like
it definitely depends a lot on what mood you're in when you do it too. Because sometimes I feel like the extra reminder of like Yes, okay, I know that's what I need. And now, like, this is the confirmation. Like, it's kind of like your friend telling you need to do something when you already know, like, but I'm not going to act on my own. But if somebody else is there to, like, kind of hold me accountable, then it's a little easier for me to be like, fine, I need to do it.
Sometimes you hear the same advice 50 times, and the 51st is the one that sticks. It's just delivered in that perfect fashion.
Yeah.
It's just like, even though you've heard it a trillion times before. It's different every time. It's kind of interesting.
And so I'm going to only share one shadow work prompt with you all today. The rest will have to go on my website, farrowwoodfarm.com/snow-moon. But the one I want to share with you guys today, I feel like this just fits so well with what we've been talking about. And I read these a year ago, so I read this and I like laughed because I forgot what I wrote. But what obstacles are between you and your goals? Are they reflective of yourself or material things? Why are you letting these things remain as obstacles? I was like, ow.
Yeah. And if we're going to align with what's going on astrologically, it's important to see, like, especially with those things that are in your way, specifically the things that just don't feel good, that just don't feel right, that just don't align anymore. And that's important too. Anymore is a pretty powerful word. They were useful at one point and now they're not. And you can acknowledge and be grateful and say, thank you for protecting me, body or human or mindset, for protecting me during the times that I needed you. But now I've outgrown you.
I think of it as like a hermit crab shell. Like, yes. They're outgrown and they have to leave it, or they will like hurt themselves, right?
Exactly.
If they stay in that shell for too long, no matter how much they want to stay, they have to move on.
And it's not the shell's fault. It's no one's fault. It's just it is. Thank you.
Life, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for supplying me with safety and protection when I needed it. But now it's time for bigger and better things. I love that. That's spot on. I feel, and I think is the tension that a lot of us are holding right now, right? Where we're outgrowing a lot of old feelings, ideas, habits, people, etc. And it's time to flourish and move on without them. That's it.
I think that's all I have. So.
Do you want to tell us about Imbolc?
Okay, well, happy Imbolc, everyone. Today is Imbolc. Technically last night into sunset today, so we're out of it, but that's only the technicality. Because it's a season-based holiday, it's also sometimes not celebrated until the first of the snowdrops are like sprouting on the ground. So depending on where you live in the world, that could be, I know, like, really seasonally, Chicago, where I live, it's not really until like the end of February, beginning of March. But with all these like nature-based holidays, that's kind of like, it's always the question of, do you want to celebrate it specifically on this designated day or when it falls in line seasonally with you? So technically we missed Imbolc, but not really. So happy Imbolc, everyone.
Happy Imbolc. Yay!
So the reason why it falls on the February 2nd is it's the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And so this is it's called a course. Oh my God, I knew I was going to mess up saying that. It's a cross quarters day. And then there's the other cross quarters day for what we think of as like not the big holidays like the Sabbats and the equinoxes, but the other ones.
They fall in between them.
Like
festivals, right?
Yeah. It's a feast festival. If you are familiar with Catholicism, it's St. Bridget's Day, or it's Bridget's Day if you're not Catholic. The Catholics took the goddess Bridget and turned her into a saint, and she's now one of the 3 patron saints of Ireland, and they still celebrate St. Bridget's Day very prolifically in Ireland, not so much everywhere else, but I've noticed that it's actually gaining popularity in a lot of places in the last couple of years. I don't know why, but when I was looking up information for this, I noticed that like there were like articles on Bridget's Day from places you would not expect, like
Witchcraft is getting
the-
more and more trendy.
It is.
but like the Economic Times from India, like in India website, the economic section had a whole article on Bridget's Day, and I was like, interesting. It is a really ancient holiday. It's been celebrated since the 10th century, and it's a very liminal time because, like I said, it's the midpoint between the solstice and the equinox. It's the end of winter, the beginning of spring. It is celebrated as the end of winter, even if it does not feel like it where you are. We have snow on the ground. It's not going to be the end of winter for a while here, but it's just a very liminal space, and it's also a great time for refreshing our spaces. And this is when like the spring cleaning kind of starts.
Mhm.
I have been doing that all this week, and I think I said the same thing last year. I got like this surge of cleaning energy at like leading up to Imbolc, and I did not realize it until I was putting together my notes for Imbolc, and I was like, oh, okay. And it's just like one of those energies that gets carried through the season.
Funny how patterns are upheld like that year after year, right?
Yeah. Bridget is a goddess of the hearth. It's a celebration of her. It's a feast day. It's basically you go through and make a feast of the last of the winter stores and celebrate what got you through the winter. So it's a lot of a feast of like the grains and the pickled and preserved foods and root vegetables and everything, all of that. But it's very hearth and home kind of holiday, a celebration of healing, of fertility, of abundance, and also poetry. So
I love poetry.
It's a very feel good holiday. It's very self-care oriented, as I mentioned earlier in the episode. It's a period of rest to prepare ourselves for the spring, for the busy season that's going to be coming. So it's not there yet. It is the beginning of spring per the calendar, but spring isn't here yet. We're not going out into the fields and planting seeds yet, but this is the time to prepare for that. This is the time to look at what we have left over, make a feast of what we have left over, and also what are you going to use? Like, how many of those potatoes are you going to plant back into the ground?
This is a great time,
year.
especially if you are into gardening or growing your own herbs and stuff like that. This is a great time to either order your seeds if you haven't yet, or two, if you already have them, or if you have ones from last year that you're going to be using to bless your seeds. So it's a little too early for me to start my seeds, but depending on where you are, it might be a good time for you to start your seeds. But I usually wait till the start.
It's interesting because this mirrors a lot what we were just talking about with the chariot putting your wheels on before you start the journey.
Yeah, and that's what I love about these podcast episodes, because like we look at all these different energies and they always line up, like the energy of the traditional cultural moon and the energy of the astrology and the energy of the seasonal
folklore
celebration. Like it always lines up and it makes sense.
That's interesting.
Which I love when those synchronicities happen, and they happen for a reason. So yeah, this is the time for planning. Maybe not so much action, but it will be soon. So this is the time to, if you haven't started planning, you're behind schedule. If you have been planning, great. Keep doing what you're doing, because it is going to be the time for action soon. The color that's associated with Bridget's Day with Imbolc is pink. So
Yay!
my favorite color, Dougsley's favorite color. And then if you want to get your hands working on something. A common craft for the holiday is making a bridges cross, which is made out of rushes or straw. And I don't have one today to show you. I had one last year. I don't know where I put it. But it's, you just make a cross out of straw or rushes, and it's usually planted in the earth to bless the earth with fertility and life, or it's placed in your house to protect your house, because this is a very hearth and home holiday.
Yes.
So if you want, those are really easy to make if you want to look them up on Pinterest probably, and get your hands working on something.
Yeah.
So
one thing I've learned after listening to all these episodes is that these pagan motherfuckers love to eat.
True.
We're always eating.
True.
They're always eating.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, they didn't have much else to like look forward to.
I know, but like, isn't that what we do?
That's what I do.
Hey, let's hang out. I'll order a pizza. Hey, let's go. Come on now.
I mean, kind of, but I feel like now it's like, let's go to the zoo. Let's go to the amusement park. Like, you know, there's a more leisure now.
It's your birthday. Let's make a big. Here's the wedding. Look at the wedding feast. Here's a funeral. We've got the refresh. I've never been to a funeral. I don't know if they're there.
I have this meme. I'm gonna post it in Discord, but let me just read it aloud to you, which is low key just like excuses to party. New moon, sick. Full moon, party. Changing of the seasons, hells yeah. Yep. Thinning of the veil, drink. Random Thursday, let's go.
Which today is Thursday, Imbolc, and we have a full moon coming up.
Yeah.
Thursday. It's time.
Thursday. Pour one out for your homie Thor tonight.
Oh my god.
Shots with Thor.
Okay, well I think that probably wraps our episode up, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's our full moon in Leo, Snow Moon Imbolc coverage for you. I hope that you all enjoyed the episode and you had a good time. Thank you for those of us that joined us in the Twitch stream while we recorded this live. I'm going to do my best to get this edited and up. It might not be up at 9 a.m. tomorrow, but it's going to be up tomorrow. If you would like to support the podcast, you can check us out at celestialcafe.org. And you can find all of our social media links if you want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and we have a Patreon as well. And you can join our Discord too. We're going to try to plan a movie night sometime this month. We've got a bunch of fun episodes coming up this month. And we're working on getting weekly Patreon content to go up too. Probably nothing too crazy or over the top fancy, but just little check-ins with y'all and little vibe checks and maybe a little tarot reading if you're lucky here or there, just some behind the scenes stuff, some bloopers, and that's what we're going to do for now until we get ourselves situated on that, and then we're going to try to do some higher tiers with bigger redemptions later on.
Yeah, one thing you guys don't get to see is that we sing to do audio checks. So only Patreon gets to see that.
Yeah, I've got a couple that I want to get up over the next few weeks because we got some. They're just sweet and silly and good times.
And they're always spontaneous. That's the thing.
Yeah, because it's just okay, I'm sound. And some of the times I don't even tell you I'm sound checking. I'll just start making noises and then y'all make noises. I'm like, this is good enough for me. So I guess we will see you with next week's episode. It's going to be on our normal schedule. So we'll be recording next Thursday. We'll be streaming next Thursday, the 9th at around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's going to be, oh, no, it's not a stream next week because it's a mini episode, right?
No.
It's the candle episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
No stream next week. So
you should be set on every other for now on. It should be every other week that will be on Twitch now.
So the next stream will be the 16th. So I'll try to get this full moon episode pushed out tomorrow for the 3rd. And then our next episode will not be released until the 13th of the month. And then we'll be there.
Hang in there.
Yeah. Hang in there for that 10-day period. And I guess that's about it. So yeah, you can check all of us out out on our websites. The links are in the bios, the show notes on the website, the description on YouTube, and we'll catch you in the next episode. So thank you all for joining us at the Celestial Cafe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.